Hello and welcome to Loktantra Chats. I am Prasanna Naidu and with me is Advocate Rahul Devdar. And today we are going to talk about the most important thing we need. No matter which party comes in power or who becomes the prime minister, we need participatory governance. That is the utmost important thing, which is lacking in the current scenario. Which basically means that our job as a citizen is not to just cast vote once in 5 years, but also to be active during those 5 years. Our job is also to keep track of all the work which is promised and which is being done throughout that 5 years. Because any significant change which we see or anything good which happens in the society happens only when the general public comes together with the public in power to make something happen. One of the contemporary examples we have seen is the abrogation of Article 370. When that happened, the people there cooperated with the government, and hence they got the result that the law and order situation there improved drastically. What is participatory governance according to you, and what else do you think should be added in this? Please go ahead.
This is very important part of, and we are recording it also at an important time when the government is just come into place, and this is very important to understand that participatory governance means there are two aspects to this. Okay, so meaning, so citizens have to participate in the functioning of parliament. But what does it mean? There are two aspects mainly. So one is intent. Okay. So the main part of this is we as citizen, we need some reform.
Right.
We have some dreams. We have some, needs. That needs have to be communicated up to the government. So the government understands what the intent is. And when government makes a law, it communicates down and we understand what the intent of the law is. Okay. So how to do that is a second question. But first, you have to understand the intent. The second part is execution. Okay, how you might have intended something, but when the law is applied, is it being executed with the intent that it was designed? It was enacted with some intent. Is that intent being felt on the ground? Now, I'll tell you the example in CAA case, the intent was one thing. The communication of intent was something else. Okay. So this is an example of misaligned intent. The intent of people who were displaced in these countries went up properly. The government replied properly, but it was received. The intent of the law was not understood by the people or deliberately misunderstood by the people.
Right.
Okay. So that is one intent example. Right to education is another example where execution is a problem. Right to education, if you say there is nobody is going to disagree with that. Yes, everyone should have right to education, no problem. But the way it is being enacted, it defeats the whole purpose of that right. The intent is actually defeated. So are you actually serving that right? So intentionally, verbally, on paper, everything is perfect. But if you go to the execution, it exactly defeats the purpose. So here is an example of law, which is right in intent, poor in execution. Okay. The law itself is designed badly. That's a separate, that also comes under execution of the law. Okay. How the sections are laid out, how the bureaucracy is reading those sections. So I'll tell you another example. If you go and say that every person who has, who is alive gets a pension, okay, which is if he is eligible, okay. The first thing that you need is actually life certificate,
right,
to prove that you are alive, okay, which means you have to prove through paper. This is the process that has been introduced. Okay. Now, if you have, now this is fine. This seems logical. Suppose you give life certificate of 2023, I am alive. The State Bank officials will say, where is your 2019 life certificate? So he said, excuse me, sir, if I'm alive on 2021 or 2023, is it not logical that I was also alive on 2019? But this is called improper execution at the officer level.
Yeah, the same. So the episode which I remember here is of the office episode from like Chilla
Exactly.
Musaddi.
No, that is not wrong. Okay, that is
Hmm.
real life.
Right.
And I'm giving you example of real life.
Hmm. Okay. So
Can you
Musaddi
get
Lals
so
exist in today's life.
it is, and I'm telling you, so the person how it was solved is that he has to give two original certificates of 2021 or 2020. I don't remember the date, but he had to give two original certificates. Now, someone went and asked the doctor, "Ki, will you certify that I was alive in 2019?" The doctor said, "Of course." But the date on the certificate also has to match with that.
Hmm.
So all these are complicated. Are you taking a backdated certificate? Are these really valid? So this is what when happens when the execution is improper. So we have to participate in the democratic process, not only at the intent level. So
Hmm.
we have to communicate what the intent is. It has to flow up the ranks to your
So
political party, to your
how should we
MP,
communicate? Like
MLA.
how should we participate when
Exactly.
we are saying that we must participate? Yeah.
In modern times, we have tools of technology. So we have like change.org. Okay.
Hmm.
We have PRS India. Okay.
Yeah.
These are the websites that are available. You combine these two. Okay. And then you approach your MP, MLA, and you submit your uh, sort of petition to these people.
Hmm.
How many of our MPs go to change.org? Zero. Okay. Some people receive it, like Ashwini Vaishnav may be receiving, Nirmala Sitaraman may be receiving, but they are
Hmm.
so far off from your drainage problems, your electricity problems, your garbage problems that they will not be able to solve it.
Right.
Okay. So when we are looking at politicians, you are not looking at only the top ministers. I directly wrote to Narendra Modi. Not like that. You have to
Hmm.
approach the politicians at every level.
Yeah, and it doesn't
So
make sense also. Like writing.
it doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
And this is the same mindset which says, ki, whenever you are trapped in a traffic signal, the cop catches us, we will straight telephone the CM, Chief Minister. Hey, boss, this traffic cop has caught me.
साहिब जरा बोलूंगा.
Ask him to, bolunga. This doesn't work. So our job is to keep. So then again, I come to this point. Your MP, MLA, your local body representative in your, if it is Gram Panchayat, then your Gram Sevak, how many times do we interact? Now, thankfully in villages, they interact a lot of times. Okay, because he is in that village.
Hmm.
But in many instances, particularly in urban areas, and now 40% of India is urban, around 35% is almost, very busy with getting their basic expenditure, basic earnings.
Hmm.
They have no time to approach their MP, MLA.
Right.
Okay. And this is where the whole system gets changed. It is every time you have to approach. Now, when you approach, how do we approach? We write a letter, this is not working, you fix it. This is not how you write a letter. So we have to provide. So it means the responsibility is on some of us to provide the templates, to provide the forms, to provide some sort of a pro forma, which people can fill and then send it to these people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now, in many of these cases also, when you send the information, you also have to give a solution, because he also, that MP also is not first of all, most of your MPs are not properly educated. Okay.
Hmm.
So they don't have the solution. So they have to ask around, okay, what is the solution? Their usual response is, send 5 guys to beat that fellow up, and that will solve the problem. So that will solve one problem. It will not solve the systemic problem. So that doesn't solve. That is why we have to give systemic solutions. Now, systemic solutions means some intelligent person will have to be involved.
Right.
It will also have to be highlighted that this is the problem which is going to affect voting. We have to build pressure. Now, one of the things that we can do is as we build pressure on our elected MP, we should also build pressure on the competitor. There should be a competition, right? Who is going
Okay.
to,
Yeah.
fight for me?
Right.
If this party fights for me, I will vote for him. And when that pressure comes, you will see more performance. As of now, what we are doing, we are not even doing anything. Okay, we are just so if the MP comes to your place, which is your locality, identifies those problems, understands the solution, has the intent to solve it, okay, then your problem will get solved. I'm not talking about these small problems which exist. Those, though, at least are visible. Okay. But let's say a major policy issue is lurking in your community. Then you have to bring, it is your responsibility to bring it up and highlight it to all these people so that it is raised in parliament if required. Okay, if there is, let's say in Kasab's case, these terrorists came through in the Koliwada region. Okay. Now,
Right.
this is not the first unknown boat which landed up. Okay. At that time, these people did not or were not aware how to raise this. This is a national security issue. It had to be raised. And it had to be, they may have complained to the police. They may have done some X factor, procedures. There are some unknown people roaming around earlier. Kasab came, then it was too late. My point is, this has to be raised through a proper channel. It has to be done, and people should feel confident. Now, I'll come to another question: why people don't feel confident? People are not saying, why should we go to this MP, MLA? These are big people.
Yeah,
This is the
also,
colonial
I was
mindset.
coming. No, but the reach is also a problem because when we were talking about the Gram Panchayat scene, so those Sarpanch and all, Upa Sarpanch, those people reside within the people. So the villagers, like those people are more approachable from the
So,
villagers.
yes.
They just reside like beside in their neighborhood. They usually visit their houses also on events and all, like festivals and all. So MP MLAs are not that approachable. Here we have they are coming and going in their vehicles with those sirens, and it's kind of
Yes.
they are not
Intimidating.
common. Yeah, it's intimidating.
Yes.
We feel that they are not people like us. Whereas in villages they are like quite like people. A villager and a sarpanch, you won't be able to figure out the difference when they come in front of us. But here we can easily figure out it. That's one of the major
Exactly.
reasons.
That is one. And, that is precisely the point. This is the colonial mindset. Okay? We are the rulers and you are the ruled. You are the slaves. That is what they are trying to imbue. See, if you go and try to meet one politician, do you know how many agents and gatekeepers you have to meet to actually meet the politician?
Yeah. Hurdles. You have to cross one.
Hurdles. You have to cross hurdles. And, every hurdle is trying to make a judgment how many votes he can influence. Okay, he's not trying to estimate what kind of quality of suggestion is he bringing. He's trying to estimate how many votes can he affect. If I say no to this fellow, how many votes will get affected? Now, in common middle class families, you will affect 4 votes. You think anyone cares? But if you have power of 1,000 votes behind you, you see how they run. But you also have to have power of 1,000 votes. You also have to have intellectual capability. You also have to have the intent. You also have to have all these connections and you have to be able to use them consistently. Now, who has that time? So there are very limited people who go into this business. Okay. So
Right.
my suggestion is this, don't go with all this, hurdles, agents, all this you eliminate. You straight write. You have email. People send good morning and good evening messages every day to my phone.
Yeah.
Send these kinds of messages. This is the issue. This is the solution. This is going to affect 20,000 votes. See how they run. And I am sending this to the opponent MP also. Send that in CC, opponent MP or opponent candidate. See how they run. First of all, I want everyone to stop sending good morning, good evening, happy Jayanti, this Jayanti, that Jayanti. No, send this message and send them regularly. Spam them. Okay. This is where spam is okay. You send email because nowadays everything is available on email. Send it to district collector, high court, send it to MP, opponent candidate, send it to Narendra Modi, Nirmala Sitaraman, whosoever email address you find, you send it. But send it in a proper format. And I think some of us need to design those formats. Some of us need to make this, so that people don't randomly start spamming them for no reason. Because then, who will spam them? People with some silly reasons, they will go with that. This time there is no sugarcane crop did not receive proper water, collector is bad, change the collector. This is spam message will go.
Also, there are peoples with agendas, which is not in the
Exactly.
greater good. So that also must not happen. That's...
No, but ultimately, see, this risk we have to take. We have to not only inform, this intent has to be communicated up. So it doesn't come as a surprise to Modi or Devendra Fadnavis or whoever is your chief minister that what is the issue in this constituency. They know fully well 50 issues which are coming up and they know the solutions and they know who to ask if they don't have the right solution. Once we get this clear, then we will have no problem. And we start making competition amongst them.
Right.
Let them fight it out for your vote. As of now, what we are doing is, because we never had this problem, because all our governance in our mindset, governance was local. Only extraction. When the king comes, sarkar ala ki paise gana. That is how our mindset is, which is in Hindi to say, कि whenever government आता है तो पैसा लेके जाता है, कुछ काम करता है नहीं. That is the main bottom line. So
this is
we have to change that and we have to make it work for us.
Yeah, but this is like oversimplified. It's not like whenever someone gets elected, he from day one he starts abusing his power and he starts collecting money. All these politicians do some work because they have to build that image. They have like votes matters to them. So it's not like these people are not doing work. Yeah, they may have some agenda or something behind every act they take, but it's not like they don't get things done. The proportions may vary.
Absolutely.
Of course.
No, proportions vary and they take action on things which come to their notice.
Right.
Okay, what they notice they deal with, what they don't notice they can't deal with.
Yeah, and these like we are talking about all politicians, like from every
all
party.
politicians.
Like...
No, now see, this is our government. We have this sarkar is chore mindset because this government was always British. Okay, this is how the colonial mindset comes in. We don't want them. Now this is our government. We want them. Come here, fix this. So we have to engage with them. And most of the times, see, in my times, there was in 3rd standard, 4th standard, 5th standard, we had civics class.
Right.
Okay. I think that civics class needs to go have, till 12th grade. We need to have how democracy works, this, how to write these letters, how to approach MP, how to approach MLA. This needs to be communicated. But sadly, I don't know, in your time, was it there? I don't know.
It was
you
there
had civics?
in the early school only, not later, like higher secondary.
India is a republic and we have so many states. This is our flag. That is civics. That's not civics. Civics is this.
Right.
Okay. So I think, and you had done some work about the spending from MP fund, right, in Mumbai. So do you recall what kind of spendings they did?
Yeah, it was mostly about building roads and public toilets and etc. That's like a
One
generic
was,
stuff.
I think one was garden. One
Yeah,
had
yeah,
made that
garden. Huh.
island garden, and
Hmm.
one had made that sort of rain shelter or something. I remember
Okay. Huh. I don't.
in near Dhobi Ghat and one place.
Ha 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 ha.
So that
Something
rain
like that.
shelter was done. Okay. Now imagine that crores of rupees fund is available, and they did these kinds of activities where they could have done something more. They could have set up some, one library was also set up, which was very good.
Hmm.
I remember you had mentioned, and you had pointed out that library also to me.
Hmm.
So that was good, but something of that sort should have been done. And we have to understand that these, MPs have to be made to work. You can't let them choose. So in I tell you again, I refer to Tatya Saheb Kore, who was the founder of Varna. He used to say, ki, these are bullocks. You have to put them on the, it's in Marathi. And नांगराला झुंपले पाहिजेत. त्याचे काम नाही like that. You have to, you know, so he used to call them bullocks. And they have to be put in proper order, then only they work. So you have to work them. That is what is true. We have to learn from that. And definitely, I think one of the ideas that people can take away is that they can start this website like change.org, not change.org per se, but a website which gives you some pro forma ways to communicate with the MPs, find out the MP's email address, his secretary's, principal secretary's email address, his personal secretary's email address, his opponent's email address, okay, and various. So it is properly communicated to the right channels, and then when we communicate it to the right channels, we'll be able to sort of create that fear and make them work for our cause. So I think that is participative democracy, and we need to exert it. Our participative democracy. Okay, let me highlight one important point.
Hmm.
Some people believe participative democracy means ki come on the ground, throw stones, create
Hmm.
bans. Okay, that is one way, but it is when all these ways don't work, and it is situation goes to a very extreme, then you do those. Okay,
Okay. Huh.
protest is the last participation
Hmm. Hmm.
before anarchy. Protest is not the first. Between protest and your normal sleepy days, you have to have so many levels of participation, and they have to be accessible. Today we have, we are surprised how many people are there on Twitter and Facebook and these kinds of social media, and they're ranting and commenting. If you give them a tool to communicate to your MP, MLA, all these people
Hmm.
on a mobile, I am sure people will, hammer them with all the suggestions. And there will be no problem if you MPs don't understand ground reality.
Yeah, Twitter is also a good tool.
No, but we need a proper format where people
Hmm.
can be given a template, how to react to what is the issue, how to solve it. People need some guidance there.
Okay. In this context, like, what do you think is the dharma of a citizen and an elected representative?
So, see, we are first dharma is to be aware. Okay.
Hmm.
So, most of the people are not aware. They are not, like I told you about civics education. So, basic civics course is required. And you have a lot of knowledge about this, how to approach all these people through
Hmm.
RTI and all that, getting information. So, we need to get these concepts clear to the people. We need people to be alert to social situations, to problems, to economic problems, कि job नहीं मिल रहा है, that is also a problem, to infrastructure problem, कि this road is, not properly designed or there is some corruption going on, to alert to every kind of situation, and they have to not just simply be alert and gossip about it. They have to take the next step. They have to inform the people. And, informing the people, like writing to a magistrate or writing to police, doing a police complaint, that's a very difficult thing, because people, all these officers are not very friendly. They should be, but they are not. So we have to create a tool where they, so it is the dharma of some people who know coding and who don't, create this, to do that. And most important is know the value. This is the value of your freedom. This is the value of your vote. So it is our responsibility to deal with all these issues, because we can, right? The intellectual class, we have to do intellectual work also, no? So many times there is no communication only, right? So twin responsibilities, that government, what is doing, we have to communicate. So in case of CA, right, it is our responsibility to communicate what is the intent of this law, right? On the other side, we are desperately trying to communicate, but other side communication is also important. Like I'll tell you, many of these laws and benefits are there for your taking, but you don't know. Many people did not know about Mudra loan. Many people don't know. I personally did not know that Siddhivinayak offers health and educational assistant, which is next door to my house.
No, yeah.
And non-Hindus are taking this benefit from that. Who is to make them aware? So it is our duty to get this information, to get this dissemination.
Okay. So in a nutshell, like what would be the 3 things one should start with if he, after listening to this conversation, if one wants to start something like that? Like recently elections are done, results were out. We know who is the MP who got elected in our constituency. So how should one start?
Exactly. So just like they gave you an election card, voting card, right? The slip, voting slip. You create one slip, write the name of the winning candidate. Okay. Of center, state, municipality. Okay. Write his email address. Okay. Keep it somewhere where you can spam them. Okay. Add them to your contact list. Whatever issue you feel, if their WhatsApp number is there, if their Twitter handle is there, include that. Okay. And whatever issue you feel, you spam them. This is the first, I'm saying, first job is to find out this information. Okay. You should know the contact details of your district collector. You should know the contact details of your district court, state high court. Okay. This is the legal side. On the official side, district collector is also the collector, he is also the government official, right? Also need to know the contact details of the police, law and order, MP, MLA, principal secretary. Get all this information, put it together and share it. Okay, within your community, local community, you share it. Second step is, if you have an issue, spam them. This is the right thing to spam about. Okay, spam them. And third thing is to create whatever content and whatever information you receive from them or you receive, please make sure you share it so that everyone is aware of, like, we don't want a situation like CA again, where a law is intended to do something and something else is happening. Everyone should be clear. Farm laws, another laws. Intent was something, actual was something, ground, third thing was happening. We should never have this kind of situation again. So these 3 things, I think, are very crucial.
Cool. Okay. I think we are done for the day. For this episode, this is it. Thank you so much for listening or watching if you're watching on YouTube. Sorry. Please do like, and share this episode and subscribe to our channel. If you have any other suggestions for the topics you want us to cover in this podcast, do email it to us. We'll provide the email address in the description or tweet it to us. Thank you so much.